Let me guess, some wholesaling guru online told you that if you want real deal flow, you need to spend like $5,000 to $15,000 a month on flashy inbound ads. So right now you're either one, burning cash you don't have, or two, sitting on the sidelines waiting until you can afford to play, but that advice is putting new wholesalers out of business in their first 2 years. Meanwhile, there are billion-dollar companies in the world that do nothing but cold call, and they are printing money. So I'm gonna give you the 5 boring, unsexy channels quietly making wholesalers rich right now, and what each one costs, and the exact tools we use. And stick around for number 5 because it is the most boring one on this list. It costs literally nothing, and it's the one making people the most money. Number 1 is cold calling. Most people think cold calling doesn't work and it's obsolete. And the reason why is because they are doing it completely wrong. So here are the 3 different fixes that I would implement today that can fix your cold calling overnight. Number 1 is using better data. That is the most important thing with cold calling, because if you are calling tens of thousands of records of people that don't want to sell or need to wait, or you hear the objections of, oh, I'm gonna sell you the house 6 months from now. What you can do to fix this overnight is to use better data, especially if you're cold calling yourself and you don't have a lot of time. You can pull all this records for free with the county courthouse. You could do it online. You can pull foreclosures, probates, divorces, all of these different lists 100% for free. When you actually do call these sellers, if people pick up, they don't have the, hey, call me in 6 months. They need to make a decision within the next 30 to 60 days because there's an auction pending, right? Or something very serious behind that. Number 2, if you are using your actual cell phone number or you're using your GoHighLevel cell phone number, which a lot of wholesalers do, that is why cold calling doesn't work. If you are calling hundreds to 200 people a day, or you have someone on your team doing that, using that one phone number is going to get flagged as spam from the phone carriers. So what we recommend doing is rotating your phone numbers. We only dial 50 dials per day per cell phone number that we own. So our company itself owns like 15 different phone numbers in Houston alone, and we cycle through those numbers every single day. Number 3 is local presence. If you live in Tampa Bay and you are marketing in Houston, Texas, don't call Houston people with your Tampa Bay number. I cannot tell you how many phone calls I get on a day-to-day basis trying to buy my properties, and they're in a whole different state. You can use local presence now with your power dialers. So if you have phone numbers in Houston and you're calling Houston, it will match your Houston numbers to that seller. If you're calling multiple cities, as long as you have those numbers, your dialer actually matches what type of area code it is to that homeowner. There's literally a study of people wanting to pick up the phone when they have an area code in their area versus picking up some other random area code that's calling. But tying all these 3 tactics together into one will make your cold calling experience way better. You'll get higher connectivity rate, which is the most important metric inside cold calling. So let's talk about pricing. Cold calling historically will be the cheapest marketing channel that you do, especially if you're pulling data for free and you're skip tracing for free with True People Search or Forewarn. The only thing that you'd be paying for is your phone bill or your $99 a month power dollar, which is what we recommend. The only time where it gets more expensive is if you don't want to do the cold calling yourself and you hire a cold caller, for instance. Most cold callers that are virtual cost around $4 to $8 an hour, depending on where you hire them from. So cold calling obviously has a ceiling. Limited conversations per day, limited dials per day, and half of the sellers honestly don't pick up. So that's where we would implement the second marketing channel, which is text messaging or SMS with AI. So I want to start off with cold texting is one of the cheapest marketing channels, right? And that there's a lot of skepticism. There's a lot of people worried about the TCPA telemarketing laws. But if you adhere to the laws as best as possible, you're going to be as safe as possible, right? So always make sure that you are respecting people on the opt-out list. If they say stop texting them. If they're on the DNC, I personally would avoid them if you're risk adverse. Now, the most important thing with cold texting is 2 things. 1, you need to have personalized text messages. And the reason why we talked about data in cold calling is because we do niche county courthouse. So we have all these different lead types like foreclosures, probates, divorces. We write very personalized specific campaigns to each of those type of leads. And the reason why we do this is because every single other seller is getting the same text messages like, are you selling your house on 123 Main Street? Is this Mike from 123 Main Street? I'm thinking about selling. We actually focus on the problem itself and we ask them if they need any assistance or if they know what their options are. We always serve as a consultant, and we're always very personalized on those text messages to get the most better response. Now, the second thing you have to do is if you're using a CRM or an automated text message system, I guarantee you that 90% of these CRMs are text blasting the same messages over and over and over again with the same cell phone number. And if you guys have noticed, phone carriers or phone vendors like AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, they are blocking your text messages. They are preventing messages from sending if they think you're a robot or sending out spam text messages. So what you have to do is you have to rotate your cell phone numbers that are texting, just like how we rotate numbers with cold calling. And we take it one step further in our CRM. We have multiple variations of text messages per lead type. So the phone carrier is not tracking that the same phone number send the same 10,000 messages per day. We are sending a variety of different messages that have the same messaging. Now, here's a third marketing strategy that nobody is doing. I like to call this the blue ocean. And number 3 is cold email. And cold email is probably the cheapest marketing channel that you'll ever experience in the world of real estate. We send about 30,000 emails for less than $270 per month, which is absolutely insane. This includes our software subscription with Instantly.ai. We use that platform to manage all of our email sending and we write all of our emails. But the craziest thing about cold email is this, guys. It is 2026. Everyone has smartphones now where people have text messages, phone calls, they're getting upset. But guess what you see on your phone just like an SMS now? You see your email notifications now. And the number one thing is when you get an email, you are less angry that you got an email versus a text message. You are less annoyed. And that is exactly how sellers are. And if you guys have wholesaled or reached out to any sellers in the history of time, you know that most phone numbers are not accurate with the data you buy. And what we've seen statistically is that if they're not picking up their cell phone, if they're not picking up their text message, they're not responding, and we have someone respond to email, they'll actually give us their real phone number through the email and our team can call them. And you know what the best part is about this too? Is our cold email responses are not generated by anybody on our team. It is completely done with AI as well. The beautiful thing about cold email is this, because it's so cheap and you can scale this crazy high. You can send 100,000 emails per month for like less than $500. So what we like to do is we like to supplement cold email with our main 2 marketing channels of cold calling and texting, where basically if we close one deal from cold email, and I like to use the example of one of our clients. He spent $3,600 in marketing for the last 3 months with cold email, and he closed one deal at $15,000. He has 11 warm leads that are all going through pre-foreclosure and probate. That is about $200,000 in his pipeline. Using a super cheap marketing channel like cold email, if you close deals using this channel, it will fund your entire marketing budget for all of your different channels. Now, the biggest crazy part about this is the cost, right? If you were doing direct mail, which a lot of people that I know that are big operators are using direct mail, you know, if you use a company like Deal Machine, it costs about 67 cents per postcard. So if you sent 20,000 postcards at 67 cents per mailer, it would cost you about $13,400. Now, if you were sending 20,000 emails, it would literally cost you 215 bucks. So number 4 is referrals. Everyone tried referrals once and gave up. And every big company runs an affiliate program. That's just referrals with a system. And there are 2 obvious sources. There are other wholesalers where you're working with investors like yourselves to find your flips, or you can go direct to agent. Now the thing is, direct to agent I think is way easier if you're a beginner, because all of these professionals, they're licensed realtors that list these properties on the market. And if they're good, they're generating their own marketing and leads. And that's where you kind of come in. There's probably sellers or homes that aren't really retail ready, that shouldn't sell on the market. That's where you kind of bring in your network of buyers or a creative structure to kind of help them get paid, right? Because that's the whole name of the game. But the problem is that no one really thinks about other types of referrals that aren't real estate professionals. And I'll give you an example. I have a guy who literally gets leads, probate deals. He just got it under contract in Phoenix, Arizona, where he knows a realtor that works in a probate lawyer office. And basically he connected with her, and her law firm gets all these clients that are going through probate, and they had a seller that had a very complicated situation, multiple heirs, multiple issues, and she actually referred to my friend Steve, who actually got that deal on the contract and resolved that issue, right? The second one is something that's a little less obvious. Like think of people that go to homes that probably are going through distress, like cleanup companies, moving companies, etc. If a mover is going to someone's house and they're packing up their belongings, that person may or may not own that property, or they could be in a weird situation. All your moving company guys have to do is essentially refer you to that property and say, hey, there's a person that's semi-interested potentially in selling their home. You don't even need to tell the seller when you call them that the moving company referred you. If that deal actually goes through, you can pay them a referral fee. Last but not least is follow up on your dead leads, okay? This is the most boring and easiest and free thing you can do. All you have to do is you have to create a retarget quarterly campaign. This is what we do personally in our company, is that every quarter we look at all of our leads that we have come into our system, anybody who's had any sort of conversation, and we split it into 2 buckets. Bucket 1 is warm. These are people that actually talked to our team and said, yes, I'm interested in selling, or we made them an offer and they didn't like it, or they just weren't ready, or 3, we just had to follow up with them. The second bucket of our leads are the cold folks. These are people that haven't necessarily told us they're ready. Maybe they just texted us a few times. These are people that we're kind of shooting in the dark and hoping that they respond. But basically what we think about it is this way. We have so many leads that we have paid for, either with time, money, systems, wherever the case may be. This is an unlimited ROI because you've already spent this money. It's a sunk cost. So what we do is we load our leads into the warm and cold buckets, and we actually send retarget campaign messages. So for example, for our warm folks, we would send them a message saying like, hey, we talked maybe a couple months ago, we potentially gave you an offer, and what we found out is because the market adjusted and changed over time, we can actually offer you more money than we originally offered you in the past. If you're interested, just reply yes, right? And when you do these retarget campaigns, you are trying to just reactivate them, right? You are trying to get them to respond, to get back into the conversation. So you want to make it as less pressure as possible. You're not asking to make another offer. You're asking to get on another conversation if they're interested. And all they have to do is reply yes, right? Something super easy. So all 5 are cheap, low risk, no big sales floor. And this is all comparing against spending $10,000 to $15,000 a month on inbound marketing, hoping a deal falls out. Now, these marketing channels are very boring. They are not sexy. They are not, you pay money and a lead comes out. This takes actual work. And the reason why is because actual dirty work, building relationships, having conversations, writing personalized text messages is what separates you from an average wholesaler that watched a YouTube video that's pulling data and just cold calling, and becoming an actual operator, thinking about how to actually convince sellers to get on the phone and provide value. If you want to work with us, there are 2 different ways. The first way is to book a call with us. The link is down below. That is a scale session. We'll walk through your whole company, give you a 90-day plan, and if you think that we're a good fit, we can help you implement all of that stuff we talked about together. The second way is if you don't need one-on-one implementation with your business, you can join our Skool community for $29 a month, where we have tons of live training, tons of pre-recorded trainings for you guys to scale your wholesaling company.